When we start our athletic quests, we have these naive mind states about what it takes, and we tell ourselves stories. I call these fantastical stories because they're made up in our imagination based on what we think it takes to become a high-level athlete. These are the 5 most common fantastical stories I hear people telling themselves that stop them from reaching their athletic potential. Third, you can't improve when you're in pain. I put this picture of back pain because I think it's probably one of the most common in CrossFit. I'd say back, shoulder, maybe knee. Those would probably be the common 3. I feel like a lot of people, and I fell into this trap. This is actually one of the things that broke my psychology with regards to training in CrossFit. I had a bunch of single-sided injuries. So I broke this ankle, knee surgery here, torn labrum in this hip, shoulder surgery here, broke this wrist. So all right side. And wrestling, I was a right side lead athlete. And in football, I mean, you are playing to both sides, but generally until you get to the highest of levels, we all have tendencies. So I'd always try to engage with one hand forward, and I'd always be a dominant sided athlete. And then I played a ton of golf obsessively. Brandon pointed out that I'm not very good, but I played to the point where I was swinging the club thousands of times a week, and it's all single-sided rotation. Get into CrossFit, doing things like Randy, and I'd wake up and I'd have to get out of bed and walk to the bathroom like this, hanging on to things because my back hurt so bad. Then I'd get warmed up, and then I'd be like, okay, I can move. And I'd go into workouts that had deadlifts in it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna fucking warm up. I'm just gonna put the weight on, and then I'm gonna pull the first one. The adrenaline's gonna go, and I won't feel it because just doing this hurts so bad. The pain became so overwhelming that I thought, well, I can't get better and I can't do the things I need to do in the sport. This was 2011, so there wasn't all of the information that you guys have access to now from people like me who fucked themselves up doing it in an unintelligent way. There wasn't people out there advocating quality movement, explaining why these issues happen, understanding how the nervous system influence is impacted by training. There wasn't all of that stuff out there. So it's just okay, I'm gonna go to a doctor. Okay, you have 3 herniations. Okay, I'm fucked. Well, I can't get better. So this type of mentality, I think, plays out all the time. I hear people come to camps and oh yeah, my chest to bars are bad because I've had shoulder pain. That mentality is such a demoralizing way to approach it. There are so many little things that you can do to constantly make yourself better at skills. Your back hurts and you need to get better at deadlifting. Practice hinging while you're lying on the floor. Practice hinging while you're hanging and see if the decompression and lifting your legs up strengthens your hip flexor and then improves your overall pelvic control and lower spine stability. There's always things that you can do to navigate pain to continue to get better. And I'd advocate that it's necessary to do so because at some point, I think everybody's body gets to the point where they're starting to experiencing aches, pains, not just from overuse in this sport, but just life. You got one pair of feet that you take all of the steps in your life on. At some point, they might just be like, well, I've had enough. I'd like to sit down. I don't want you to stand on me anymore, right? Or your natural tendency to walk puts pressure on one side of, your toe more than the other. That toe starts to move in. We all have these repetitive patterns of motion that play out. And when they do, then things start to hurt. And if you think of every time the hurt happens, now I can't get better, or now I'm stuck because of the pain, then I think that you're gonna be in a bad overall mental space for getting better as an athlete. Mike is talking about mental toughness, and this is gonna be a huge component of it, is pain in general. So I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but this is a fantastical story that I think people need to cut out of their mental headspaces.